Hi there. In this video we are going to make the Jackhammer gear cover. So let's get started. First I got myself to the Onshape Learning Center and I'm going to go into the pathway new to Onshape. I'm going to scroll all the way down to Introduction to Part Studios. And there it is. It's under number 5, Applied Features, and that is the Jackhammer gear cover. Alright, so here it is. So let's get started. I'm going to click on Next Page to get the instructions started. And here we go. It says, open the public document Jackhammer. Okay, so there's a blue link here. So you click that, and it says, select Make a Copy to Edit. Well, let's give it a second. And once it opens, it says, this document is view only, right? So it doesn't belong to us, but we can make it belong to us by clicking Make a Copy to Edit, and then just let it put it where it wants to, and we'll open it up, and now we have something we can actually work with. So we didn't actually have to make this gear cover. What we're going to do is add some features to it. So let's go back to those instructions and ensure the workspace length default unit is millimeter and the mass default is kilogram. Well, that's, I guess you could ensure it, but I guarantee you it is, because we didn't make this. And oh, look, it's millimeters and kilograms. Yeah. So anyways, going back to the instructions, let's move on to the next slide. Investigate the new document. The Jackhammer contains 2 tabs. One contains a picture of the finished assembly, and the other is the Part Studio, where the design work has started on the gear cover. This Part Studio already has multiple features completed on the base features folder. Okay, so let's see what they're talking about. So here's the picture. There's the Jackhammer. And this is the cover that they're talking about. And so as you can see there, it's really cool. They used a folder to stick all those previous features in. Otherwise, it just absolutely clutters up the window like you wouldn't believe. So we don't have to look at all of that because it was already put in. So we're just going to add some stuff to what's already been made. And let's see what we've got here. We are going to start a new shell feature. Select the bottom face of the gear cover to remove. Set the shell thickness to 4 millimeters and accept the feature. All right, so shelling is cool. This is a solid right now. Shell hollows it out, so to speak. The shell feature is right there. I'm going to click that, and it said to make it 4 millimeters. I'm going to do that, and the faces to remove is this. Look at that. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's kind of what we would expect something made out of plastic to look like. All right, so I'm going to accept that. And I'm going to move on to the next slide. Now, this gets tricky, so try to follow along as carefully as you can. If you notice, what we're trying to do here is put 6 sketch holes, okay, which later we're going to turn into another type of hole. And we've got one up here, one over here, one down here, and then a mirror of that on the other side, okay? So the purpose of drawing this construction line is so we can make that mirror. Okay, and the 2 bottommost points are concentric with the circular edges labeled A. Okay, so these outer edges, right? There's an inset here showing that. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind as we get going. And one of the things I also want to point out is that when we sketch this, we've got a point down here. This thing is only very slightly to the left, right? Only by 4 millimeters. It's very hard to put that dimension in when they're that close. So what I'm going to do when I draw is I'm going to exaggerate it. I'm not going to draw it here. I'm going to draw it like over here somewhere so that it doesn't cause me problems when I try to do that dimension. So you'll see what I'm talking about. But the first thing we need to do is create a sketch on this surface. So let's go in there, and I'm gonna click top so we're looking straight down on it. Now I'm gonna zoom in a bit so I can really highlight that surface and make sure I got the right surface. I'm gonna right click and make new sketch. Okay, so I have a sketch right there, and my first point needs to go. Oh wait, you know what? Let's sketch that construction line first. So I'm gonna get the line tool, make it a construction line, hover over the origin, sketch down a bit, and there you go. Okay, we're going to use that as our mirror later down the road. Okay, so now let's zoom in on this spot right here, and I'm going to get the sketch point tool. Now, if you notice, oh, I don't know, it's not letting me locate anything where I need to locate it. Well, this is where we can actually project that curve into our sketch. Even though we're not going to use that curve, you notice it not only puts the curve, but it puts the center of that curve there. So now I can line my point up with it. Okay, so you notice that turned black because it is located as the center of a feature that's already in the part, and so therefore no dimensions are needed to turn it black. Now I'm going to come up and make more points. Now remember, I said this point, if you go up, right, it's only just a hair over here. Well, that's problematic for me. I'm going to draw way over here just to help make sure that there's no unintentional constraints, and it'll make it easier to dimension. Also, I have one up here. I'm just going to throw it up there somewhere, because what's going to really matter is in locating those properly are the dimensions. So I'm going to do the horizontal dimensions first. So I'm going to make this point 4 millimeters to the left of this point, and then I'm going to make this point 16 millimeters to the right of the middle point. So let's scroll down or push down and start with that first dimension. So I'm going to click my point, my other point, and if you notice, it gives me an option of creating a horizontal dimension, and I'm going to type in a 4, and there we go. Now I'm gonna back out on my scrolling a little bit and make it easier to see. So this one and this one are 16 away from each other. So I'm going to type 16. All right, now we need some vertical constraints. And if you notice, you got 95 and 93. So let's do that. Let's go down here, click this point, and by hovering over here, I can make 95. And by going from here to here, whoops, missed. There we go. I can make that 93. Okay, so let's double check and make sure that looks right, and it does. Now, there's still something needed to be done, which is to mirror those same points over to the other side. So that's easy enough. I'm going to get the mirror tool, select my mirror line, and then just click each of the points. And now I have 6 total points located in my sketch. Now I can accept the sketch and move forward. All right, what are we supposed to do? Well, we're going to make hole features. Okay, now this is a very involved hole, so it's very important that you make all the things in the dialog box match up. So we need a metric counterbore. We're going to select all 6 points. We're going to merge it with the gear cover, a clearance hole that's M5, close, blah, 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 all the way down. Okay, so let's start off just by selecting hole and make it a metric counterbore. So the hole tool is right there, and it's metric, but see, it starts off as simple. I'm going to select counterbore because we need that. And then the sketch points are this one, this one, this one, this one, that one, and that one. Okay, so we have the 6 holes. Now, let's go back and match it up. Moving down, gear cover, clearance M5, close. Gear cover, clearance M45, no, we want it to be M5, and close. Okay, what else is it supposed to say? 5.3 millimeters, start from part through all. 5.3 millimeters, start from part, not blind, but through all. And then let's see what else it says. 9.75 and 5 millimeters. And those are already there. So it looks like we're good. Let's see what those look like. They look like holes. How exciting. Okay, well, there you go. And let's double check and make sure that looks right. Yeah, it looks about right. Now what? Okay, so now reorder fixtures to fix the counterboard holes. Drag the shell feature to the bottom of the features list. Now the counterbore holes have correct geometry and the shell thickness is applied around them. You notice it creates this kind of lip on there, which makes sense. If you're going to put a bolt there, there needs to be something for the bolt to press up against. So how do we do that? Well, what they said is we're going to grab the shell and drag it down. And all of a sudden, oh yeah, look at that. Very cool. So see, if you shell first, right, and all right, well, let's put it this way. If you were to hold off on doing the shell till later, that would cause different problems. So this is just one of those things that I think experience would teach you to do it this way. Okay, and so anyways, moving on. On slide 7, it wants us to create offset chamfers on the gear cover. And chamfers are these little angled features that kind of, instead of rounding off the corners, they create what I would call a bevel. They call it a chamfer. Start a new chamfer feature with a focus in the entities to chamfer field, right? That's right here. Select the 2 edges highlighted in orange. OnShape automatically selects the connected edges to chamfer because the tangent propagation is checked. So in other words, anything that goes tangent to those edges we select will be included automatically. So let's kind of rotate it and zoom in on that. So there you see the unchamfered edges. And you see these edges are all tangent to each other. So when I select chamfer, and again, I didn't even look to see. It is 2 millimeters and 45 degrees. So let's do that. Offset, distance, and angle 2 millimeters, 45 degrees. Great. And tangent propagation is selected. If I click here, it does that thing. And I'm going to swivel it around, do it to the other side. And there you go. Looks pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to select that. I'm going to accept that. And now I'm going to go on to slide 8. Where it says add a fillet to the edges of the gear cover. So these lower edges are going to get a 1 millimeter fillet, and it says allow edge overflow. So let's make sure that's all happening. So we're going to get the fillet, and we're going to change this to 1 millimeter, and then we're going to click all those edges that they've mentioned. And I'm just going to double check because make sure I get the right edges. It's the long edges and the one in the front. Okay, so let's do that. There you got this long edge, which again, you notice propagated around the corner because of the tangent propagation. And then we got that there. And let's zoom that around so we can see, and we got that there. Very cool. Now, slide 9, we're going to do a different fillet up top. Okay, now this one's a little different because it says start a new fillet, select the edge tab. With the focus on entities to fillet, select the top edge of the part highlighted in orange. So we're going to click that. Set the measurement to radius, control to distance, and radius to 3 millimeters. So I don't think that's, the reason they're mentioning that is because I don't think that's what the default is. And again, the edge we want to do is over here, so I'm going to click that. Okay, and radius, distance, let's see if that's right. Radius, distance, and we want 3 millimeters. Okay, what else? Okay, the fillet becomes very thin in front because the angle changes between adjacent faces. In other words, this angle and this angle are not the same as this angle and this angle. Change the measurements to width and set width to 3 millimeters. Okay, so measurement to width and set that to 3 millimeters. Now you notice it's giving us a consistent width even though this angle changed. And it does look better to me. Looks a little bit more uniform. So let's accept that. And that was slide 9, so something tells me we're done. Indeed we are. So we're going to select this. Oh, it already has the material aluminum. Oh, I said plastic. It's actually aluminum. That's a nice jackhammer. Not like the one you would get at Home Depot. All right. And we're going to look at the mass and use that to compare. So I'm going to select my gear cover. Click over here on the scales. My mass is 0.445 kilograms. Okay, so when I come up here, I'm going to click the next page to start my little quiz, and hopefully 0.445 is an option. It is, and the results are, we're right. Oh boy, we are excellent, and now we are done, and I hope that video was helpful. See you next time.